Welcome back to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga Night 60. So that was, I thought, a very interesting conversation with James McNair, co-leader of the Direct Democracy Party of Canada. He's trying to have an impact on politics in Canada. He's trying to have an impact on people having more voice within our Canadian political system. And I think that it's something that we should pay attention to and listen to. Our voting preferences, our voting turnouts have gone down dramatically. The Globe and Mail had a major editorial this past week that talked about how our democracy really has a challenge, that based on the way that our first past the post system works, our desires really aren't reflected in our political system. In the last Ontario election, the NDP and the Liberal Party both got the same popular vote. The NDP got 4 times as many seats. So effectively, a NDP vote was worth 4 times what a Liberal vote was worth. And the Green Party had, significant popular vote, but only got 1 seat. And a Conservative voter was worth 16 times the power of a Green voter. 16 times. And the Conservative Party, with a 42% turnout and a 40% popular vote, ended up getting a very strong majority government. And then we've all gotten in the newspaper this past week, probably the new Electoral Commission of Canada redistribution of ridings across the country. And as you probably have heard, Toronto is going to lose a riding. But yet the Toronto ridings are some of the most populous ridings in the whole country. So why is it that Toronto loses a riding when there's a whole bunch of ridings in Canada that have, significantly less population? And our representation by population, the way that it works is it's sort of by region. They try to average out the ridings, but not necessarily the whole country. And I really question whether this results in a situation where we don't really have 1 person, 1 vote. And so what are we going to do about that? I have been reading a fascinating book. I've been traveling the last week, and I've been reading a fascinating book about reclaiming populism by a Canadian that's now working for the Harvard Growth Lab in Boston. And he talks about how populism really is fertile when people no longer think that things are fair, that people don't mind inequality if it's justified, if it's because people have worked hard to get it. But when they feel that it's unjustified, that there's some corruption or bias or nepotism or unequal results because of something that you're born with rather than with something that you work hard to get. And the born with is it's interesting. People realize that intellect or even beauty or athletic prowess are something that you're born with that's justifiable in having an unequal outcome, a beneficial outcome. But they don't think that being born rich should give you an unequal outcome. And they resent the people that have family net worth that continues on generation after generation after generation. I think we've got this problem in Canada right now where some people think that things are no longer fair. And some of the grievance politics that we're seeing voiced by some of the candidates for the Conservative Party leadership are, I think, proof positive of that. I think some of the popularity of the truckers' convoy, while it may have been voiced in freedom, I think it also was I think it was fairness that people were complaining about. And I think our electoral system right now has the chances of being perceived as being unfair. And I think that's a huge problem. I have previously spoken and actually been on a ballot talking about proportional representation as being potentially the solution. A lot of people will say, oh, well, then you'll have parties that have to work together all the time, and you'll have to have cooperation and collaboration, and people that, you won't have stability because you won't have a minority situation being sort of amplified into a majority situation. That'll leave more uncertainty in our political system. I say, if that's what people actually want, if that's what people vote for, And people want to have parties that cooperate, and people want to have governments that really don't have majority status, and so therefore have to work long and hard to get votes passed. That's good. So I want to leave you with a thought that right now, I think we do have a problem in Canada with perceived unfairness. I think we're seeing that in the Ontario election and the turnout. I think we're seeing that in some of the response to this electoral commission that is redistributing the ridings across Canada. I think we're seeing that in the Conservative leadership campaign, and we need to address it. And James McNair has got one solution. I think that the None of the Above party had a different solution. I think that just sticking our heads in the sand and continuing along the way we're going is not a solution. And we've got to think long and hard about how we ensure that people feel that their voice is being heard, that their vote counts, and that democracy in Canada works and is considered fair. Thanks for joining me. Have a great Labor Day weekend. Bye-bye.